بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وصلوات الله وسلامه على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين محمد المصطفى وعلى آله ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد, inshallah, today we would look at numbers as ordinal adjectives. But before we do that, I'll remind you quickly of what we did last week. We learned to form numbers, al-adad, and we also learned how to do the analysis. So this lesson that I designated as Sarf 007 is both Sarf and Nahu, because it combines within it how to form the words, but also how to do the analysis of both the adad and the ma'adud, the numbers and the things that are counted. And then we saw examples from Quran from 1 all the way through 100,000. Of course, not every number in between. Today, what we would look at is numbers from a different perspective. That's when they're used as what is called ordinal adjectives. So in English, numbers are called cardinal adjectives. They are seen as adjectives. And in Arabic language, sometimes they are, sometimes they are not. So there's a difference between the grammatical perception of numbers in English and in Arabic. But what is referred to as ordinal adjectives, numbers as ordinal adjectives, meaning they tell you the order of things. First, second, third, it's telling you in what order the things are. And they're seen as adjectives in English. Incidentally, they're also seen as adjectives in Arabic, or sifat. So we'll just go ahead and learn them and get some examples from the Quran, inshallah. From the first to, I just took 21. We'd learn 21. If you learn up to 21, you can figure out the rest. So we say something is al-awwalu, which means it's the first. And the feminine for that is al-ula. Al-ula. So if you wanted to say, the first man, we would say ar-rajulu al-awwalu. If we wanted to say the first woman, we would say al-mar'atu al-ula. So al-awwal is seen as adjective, the way we would describe it. For example, if we were to say جاء الرجل الأول, the first man arrived or came, we would say جاء فعل ماض مبني على الفتحة. الرجل فاعل مرفوع وعلامة الرفع الضمة على آخره. And we'll say الأول صفة. We'll say أول is an adjective. Allah says هو الأول والآخر والظاهر والباطن وهو بكل شيء عليم. This is Surah Al-Hadid, verse 3. هو is مبتدا في محل الرفع مبني على الفتحة. So you notice here we say the word هو is مبني. It's a ضمير والضمائر كلها مبنية, and all the pronouns are مبنية. They are not analyzed, they're fixed. هو would always be هو. And we say في محل الرفع, in the position of رفع. Why? The مبتدا is by default مرفوع. But because it's مبني, Mabni and marfu are conflicting terms. You have to understand that concept. We explain this a lot. Something for you to remember. You cannot say something is mabni and marfu, because marfu means it's analyzed. Mabni means it's fixed. It can be fixed and analyzed. So it either changes at the end or don't change, but it can be both. So we say it's mabni, but then we say it's in the place of rafa. Had it been it was not mabni, it would have been marfu. That's what we mean. Al-awwalu is khabar, meaning the first. He is the first. So here we see also the word the first can be used as khabar. I use it in an example of sifa as an adjective, but here it's used as an ism, as a noun. Wal-akhiru, and the last, wal-zahiru, and the obvious, wal-batinu, and the hidden. وَهُوَ بِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ عَلِيمٌ, and he is knowledgeable of all things, or he has knowledge of all things. What is meant by al-zahiru is not that we can see Allah, but we see the evidences of the existence of Allah in His creation, and that's because the characteristics of the workman shows in his workmanship. So if someone is a carpenter and he is very precise and he is very careful, you would see his precision and his care and loving, and you'll see that love in his creation or his furnitures that he makes. Allah says, so I attempt to get example of masculine and feminine. So this is an example of al-awwalu in its masculine form. And as for the feminine, وَلَلْآخِرَةُ خَيْرٌ لَكَ مِنَ الْأُولَى. This waw is harf al-atf, lam للتوكيد. This lam here is to emphasize. الآخرة is مبتدأ مرفوع وعلامة الرفع ضمته على آخره. خير خبر, better. So this is the sentence. And indeed, al-akhirah, what is meant, al-hayatul akhirah. So technically, if we really want it to be technical, we can say that al-akhirah is sifa lil-mubtada. It's an adjective. But sometimes we use it as an ism. Al-akhirah, we mean the next life. خير is خبر مرفوع وعلامة الرفع ضمته على آخره. لك جار ومجرور. لا, here is originally lam, what we call al-milkiyah, the lam of possession. It's originally li. For example, alhamdu lillahi. That's the same lam here, but it has a fatha because the kaf has a fatha. And lika would be very difficult to say, so we say laka. Khayrun laka, better for you. And whenever you have khayr, whenever you
what
have...
is that lamb called, Sheikh?
Al-milkiyah, the lamb of possession, of or ownership. Whenever you have what we call tafdeel, comparative, which is also superlative in English, but in Arabic we only have comparative, and that would be a future lesson, inshallah. Min al-ula, you have to have min. Better for you than, better than, greater than, more beautiful than, bigger than. So you'll always have to have min in ism tafdeel when you use a tafdeel. Min al-ula, than the first. What is meant by al-ula? Al-hayatul ula. So here we can say ula is sifa, lismin mahdhufin, al-haya. So that's why it says al-ula. And the last life is better for you than the first life. And of course, this is talking, this ayah is exclusively for Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Of course, the meaning is not only for him, but this ayah is talking to him about him. Allah is telling him that the next life would be better for you than uh, than this life, and we hope that it's also better for us, inshallah. I want to show you the word khayr. The word khayr is originally akhyaru. Tafdeel is done on the pattern. I'll just type right here and erase it when I'm done. Comes from the verb khayara, from the word khayara, which means to choose. And the ismu tafdeel would be on the pattern of af'alu, which is akh, ya, ru. And then the hamza is eliminated, or actually the kha steals the fatha from the ya. This is what happens first. There are two steps. So the kha will take the fatha. This happens a lot with weak letters. They get their vowels stolen. Happens with weak people also. They get stuff stolen from them. And then the hamza is eliminated also. It's dropped. So it becomes khayr. So the word khayr is originally akhyar, which means better. And of course, khayr means better also. Asani, that's the second. The feminine is asaniyatu. An example in Quran, Allah says, إِذْ أَخْرَجَهُ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا ثَانِيَ اثْنَيْنِ إِذْ هُمَا فِي الْغَارِ. Allah is saying, if you do not help him, then Allah has helped him when the disbelievers expelled him. إِذْ ظَرْفُ الزَّمَانِ. Excuse me, it encapsulates time. It's saying the time. أخرجه أخرج فعل الماض مبني على الفتحة. Excuse me, هو ضمير متصل مفعول به مبني على الضمة في محل النصب. So this is the مفعول به, it's the object. أخرجه, referring to Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وسلم. الذين كفروا, الذين صلة اسم الموصول, وصلة الذين كفروا, the disbelievers, those who disbelieved. And then we'll say وصلة الموصول في محل الرفع فاعل لأخرج. That الذين كفروا, those who disbelieve, the entire structure or the entire phrase is the fa'il, is the subject for أخرج. ثاني اثنين, ثاني is حال, it's his state, the state he was in when they expelled him. The second of two. Of course, we had mentioned this before in an example. The first of the two, which is an honor to Abu Bakr, radiallahu anhu, is Abu Bakr. إِذْ هُمَا فِي الْغَارِ, and this is badal of إِذ here. It's a substitute, and it's also ظرف الزمان. هُمَا فِي الْغَارِ, the two of them are in the cave. While the two of them are in the cave. So here, what we're looking for is ثاني, second of two. To say third, الشيء الثالث, the third thing. الرجل الثالث, المرأة الثالثة. That's how you say third. An example in Quran, إذ أرسلنا إليهم اثنين فكذبوهما فعززنا بثالث فقالوا إنا إليكم مرسلون. Allah is speaking about the example of a village where Allah sent to them إذ when ظرف الزمان أرسلنا إليهم اثنين we sent to them two. What is meant by two messengers. نبيين اثنين. We sent to them two messengers. فكذبوهما and they rejected them or disbelieved in them. كذب, the word كذب originally means to call the person a liar. كذبتك, I called you a liar. كذبوهما, they called the two of them. So كذبوا is فعل ماض مبني على السكون and هما والفاعل ضمير مستتر تقديره هم and هما is مفعول به مبني على السكون في محل النصب. فكذبوهما is a sentence by itself. It's the verb, the subject, and the object all together. فعززنا بثالث. عززنا, we strengthen them. عزز, to reinforce them. عززنا فعززناهم, we reinforce them, or هما, sorry, فعززناهما, we reinforce the two of them. بثالث, the way we would do إعراب of this, we would say با حرف جر وثالث صفة لاسم محذوف تقديره بنبي ثالث, with a third messenger. Of course, they rejected this messenger also. A utilization of a thalitha in the feminine form is in Surah An-Najm, where Allah says, وَمَنَاةَ الثَّالِثَةَ الْأُخْرَى. Manat, excuse me, that's the name of one of the presumed gods of Quraysh. الثالثة, the third. Al-Ukhra, the other. الرابع.
Sheikh, I have a question, Sheikh.
Yeah.
If you can scroll up. I've always wondered about examples like these. So فَكَذَّبُوهُمَا, right?
Mm-hmm.
So كَذَّبُوا with the alif at the end would make it the masculine third person plural form of كَذَّبَ, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how does the alif disappear?
Because of the fact that huma is connected to it. So originally the way we would write this, فَكَذَّبُوهُمَا. But this dhamir cannot stand by itself. This pronoun cannot stand by itself. Or actually it can. Huma can. But here it is joined. So because it's joined, that is eliminated. فَكَذَّبُوهُ, it would be the same if you were saying they disbelieved in him, or فَكَذَّبُوهَا, they disbelieved, they called her a liar. فَكَذَّبُوا me, they called me a liar. So you would always eliminate that alif, yeah.
Okay. So is that an exceptional rule for
no,
the dual pronoun, or just
this is not
or
dual,
just something that
plural.
is,
this is plural.
no huma?
No. For anything that is joined to.
Oh, okay.
Let me go over this slowly. كذب, كذبوا. If you join anything to this, you have to drop that before you join.
Drop the. Okay.
So it doesn't matter what you join on, you have to drop that alif. الرابع, the feminine would be الرابعة, الرجل الرابع, المرأة الرابعة. Allah says in Quran, سيقولون ثلاثة رابعهم كلبهم. Of course, I did the idgham of the tanween into the ra. They would say three, the fourth is their dog. This is the ayah. This is an ayah in Surah Al-Kahf that is speaking about people's assumption concerning the number of young people in the cave. Allah is saying some will say ثلاثة, some will say they were three, and their dog was the fourth. رابعهم كلبهم. Uh, so here رابع is fourth. الخامسة sorry الخامس والخامسة, the fifth. والخامسة أن لعنة الله عليه إن كان من الكاذبين. This here is talking about, so let me translate it first. And the fifth is that the curse of Allah is upon him if he is one of the liars, meaning if he's lying. This is speaking about the testimonies of the husband if he accuses his wife of adultery. So briefly, just so you understand the context, and of course I don't want to talk about the details of that, of divorce, or sorry, the shahada for adultery, the testimony. So if someone accuses someone of adultery, you need to have four witnesses, four simultaneous, concurrent, independent witnesses. It's very difficult to achieve. But that's for everyone else except the spouse. If the husband accuses his wife or the wife accuses her husband, the spouse does not need four witnesses. His testimonies would be counted as four witnesses. So he would testify 4 times that he did see his wife committing adultery. So if a man came home and saw his wife with another man, he doesn't have to run out and find 3 more people. He will swear 4 times that he did see her with someone, and those 4 testimonies would be accepted. Those 4 swears would be accepted as 4 testimonies. But then, just to scare him from not lying or from lying, so that the person takes this very serious, he has to make a 5th shahada. So when Allah says wal khamisatu, it is actually sifatun lismin mahdhufin taqdiruhu wa shahadatul khamisatu, and the 5th testimony, anna la'anat Allahi alayhi, that the curse of Allah will be upon him if he is lying. So the person would have to say, I swear that I saw my wife with this man, and he'll do that 4 times, and it will be counted as 4 testimonies. But then he'll have to make a 5th testimony against himself and say, and my 5th testimony is that the curse of Allah be upon me if I'm lying. Of course, the opposite is true with the woman defending herself. She would swear 4 times that that he is lying, and she will swear a 5th time that the wrath and the ghadab Allah alayha, the wrath of Allah be upon her if she is lying or if he's speaking the truth. But what we really want is al-khamisatu. It's sifatun lismin mahdhuf wa shahadatul khamisatu. And the 5th testimony is that the curse of Allah be upon him if he's lying. As-sadisu, as-sadisatu. Very interesting word. So we don't say, when we say 4, we say arba'a. When we say 5, we say khamsa. When we say 6, we say sitta. Sin and ta and ta. But when we say 6th, we don't say satit. One would have expected we say satit, like we say rabi' from arba'a and khamis from khamsa. But we say sadis, sin del sin. This is just language. And we don't say 6 by saying sidsatun or sadsa. The word is not used as 6. It's only used for 6th and 1/6. We use sin del and sin. That's just the language. So it's a complete change of the letters that you use to form the sixth from six. So six is sittatun, but the sixth of something is as-sadisu, feminine as-sadisatu. And the same ayah that mentioned up here, Allah says, وَيَقُولُونَ خَمْسَةٌ سَادِسُهُمْ كَلْبُهُمْ رَجِمًا بِالْغَيْبِ. And they will say, meaning some will say. So some say three, the fourth is their dog. And some people will say five, the sixth is their dog. Rajaman bil ghaib, meaning they're guessing. They're just shooting in the dark or talking about what they have no information about. As-sabi'u, the seventh from sab'a, which means seven. As-sabi'atu, the feminine, and the word sabi'a or sabi' is not found in Quran. Hence, I didn't put an example, but we can say in ordinary language, in everyday language, جاء الرجل السابع, the seventh man came. As-saminu, which is the eighth from thamaniya. As-saminatu would be feminine. That same verse again, وَيَقُولُونَ سَبَعَةٌ وَثَامِنُهُمْ كَلْبُهُمْ. And they say seven, and the eighth is their dog. So there are three opinions out there, that there were three of them, the dog was the fourth, five of them, the dog was the sixth, seven of them, the dog was the eighth. قُلْ رَبِّي أَعْلَمُ بِعِدَّتِهِمْ. The ayah continues, say my Lord knows best their numbers. And of course, exactly what their number was is irrelevant. What is more important is learning the lesson from their story. At-tasi'u and at-tasi'atu would be ninth, but of course there's no example in the Quran. Al-ashiru al-ashiratu is the 10th. Al-hadiya asharu. So the way you say 11th is the first part would be mabni, and the second part would be mu'rab. الحادي عشر جاء الرجل الحادي عشر. And if you notice, both parts are masculine for masculine, and both components are feminine for feminine. الحادية عشرة. جاءت المرأة الحادية عشرة. and الثانية العشرة would be feminine for 12. الثانية عشر, 12th. الثانية عشرة would be feminine. Very different from counting. I don't know if you remember in counting, 11 and 12 were different. Sorry, went back too far. So when we counted, we made both components masculine for 11 and 12. أحد عشر إثنى عشر and إحدى عشرة إثنتا عشرة for 11 and 12. And from 13, we did the opposite. The first component was masculine, the second was, feminine. The second was masculine when the thing that is being counted is masculine. When the thing being counted, al-ma'adud, is feminine, you have masculine and feminine from 13 all the way to 19. But in the ordinal adjective, speaking about the order of something, from 11 all the way to 19 remains the same. The first component both components being masculine and both components being feminine all the way through 19. Al-Ishrun is used to mean the 20th also, but it also means 20. So Ishrun means 20, but Al-Ishrun means the 20th. And it's the same for masculine and feminine. And then from 21 to 29, it would be masculine for the masculine nang and al-ishrun, and feminine al-hadiyata, wala ishrun. It would be mabni and then mu'arab from 21 to 29. Al-hadiya wala ishrun, al-hadiyata wala ishrun. And so far as Quran is concerned, none of these are in Quran. So if it is the objective is to understand Quran, it's irrelevant. But in everyday language, you can use it in speaking. Unfortunately, most people do not. So that briefly is what are called ordinal adjectives. Adjectives are numbers as ordinal adjectives. Numbers when they're used to describe the order of things. Now, numbers as fractions. So if we want to say a part of something, a half or a third or 2/3, or quarter, 1/5, 1/6, 1/7, 8th, 9th, and 10th. I only went all the way up to 10th, and they're the only ones found in Quran. Excuse me, 2 of them are not. So half is nusf with a sukun on the sad. Nusfun has nothing to do with ithnan, which means 2. So half and 2, just like in English. So we say 2 of something or the second of something, and then we say half. And whereas there's the association of the number 2, 1/2, the words are completely different. So the word for half in Arabic is nisf. إن ربك يعلم أنك تقوم أدنى من ثلثي الليل ونصفه وثلثه. Surah Al-Muzammil, ayah 20. Indeed, your Lord knows أنك, that you, تقوم, you stand up. What is meant by standing up here? تقوم للصلاة أو تقوم في الصلاة. You stand up for salah or in salah. Adna, adna mean less than. Min, than. Thuluthai. This word here is originally thuluthai. Thuluthai al-layli, 2/3 of the night. But of course, we remove the sukun and we put a kasra on the ya for التخلف والالتقاء الساكنين. وَنِصْفَهُ, and half of it, meaning half of the night, or a third of the night. So this is talking about Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam in Surah Al-Muzammil at the starting. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded him to pray at night. Very interesting. For him, it is compulsory. For the rest of us, it is recommended. It is sunnah. But Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam was obligated to pray a part of the night, at least a third of it, and that was mostly his practice. But sometimes he would pray 2/3 of it or a half of it, or like Allah says, a third of it, but a third of it was mostly his practice. And that is to strengthen him so he would be able to bear receiving Quran and preparing himself to be the leader of this ummah. SubhanAllah, being Nabi or the final Nabi was not easy. I don't think anyone else but Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam had the ability to play that role. That's half. Also the very ayah, if you notice, I repeated it 1, 2, 3 times. and it's because thuluth is also mentioned in it. وَثُلُثَهُ, or here, same thing. وَثُلُثَهُ, and a third of it. And also thuluthani, 2/3. This here is, originally this is thuluthani. So let me show you. Thuluthani means 2/3. But when you make it mudaf, you drop the noon. 2/3 of the night becomes mudaf, and then because it's majroor with min, we make the alif into a ya. So that's the transpositions of the word thuluthani to thuluthai. And of course that kasra there don't belong. That kasra really don't belong in the i'rab. It's there for only qira'ah. But this is the way it would be written in the i'rab, or you do i'rab of it, but it's written with the with the kasra and the ya. So we have nisfun is half, thuluthun is a third, thuluthani 2/3. And by the way, nisfun and thuluthani is used a lot in the Quran, especially in the topic of inheritance. I want to point out a little Arabic language subtlety here. For all of the fractions, numerical fractions, from 3 to 9, we say thuluthun بضم ayn of the word, meaning the second original letter, or with sukun. But the Quran uses the dhamma. لغة Quraysh, the language of Quraysh, was the dhamma. Thuluthun. It is correct for you to say, of course, not when you read Quran, unless it's a qira'ah. You can say in Arabic language, thulthu, thulthu. Or rubu'un, you can say rub'un. Or khumusun, you can say khumsun. Or sudusun, you can say sudsun. Or subu'un, sub'un. Or thumunun, thumnun. Or tusu'un, tus'un. Or ushurun, ushrun. So the ayn of all of these can be with a dhamma or with a sukun, but in the Quran, they're all with dhamma. Just wanted to highlight that. Rubu'un, which means a quarter. فإن كان لهن ولد فلكم الربع مما تركنا. Surah An-Nisa, 12. فإن كان لهن, and if they have, they here meaning the wives of the man. The wife passed away, and this is the husband inheriting. So if the wives, or any of the wives is what it meant, how terrible would it be for if a man has 4 wives and all of them die at the same time? That's huge suspicion. But anyway, Allah says, if they, hunna, meaning any of them, have a child, he gets 1/4. Then you get 1/4. Allah is addressing the male in the ayah. But of course, I don't want to talk about the details of inheritance. But that's a very, very interesting topic. Inheritance is an extremely important topic. And maybe sometime we can discuss the details of that. Perhaps one day we'll take some of the verses from Surah An-Nisa, do tafsir, and just deliberate on inheritance for a while. Excuse me. Mimma tarakna, from what they left. Tarakna, taraka, he left. Taraku, they left, that's if it's male. And tarakna, they left, if it's female. Excuse me. Khumusun, 5th. وَاعْلَمُوا أَنَّمَا غَنِمْتُم مِّن شَيْءٍ فَأَنَّ لِلَّهِ خُمُسَهُ وَلِلرَّسُولِ وَلِذِي الْقُرْبَى وَالْيَتَامَى وَالْمَسَاكِينِ وَابْنِ السَّبِيلِ. إلى آخر الآية. سورة الأنفال آية number 41. وَاعْلَمُوا and اعْلَموا know from علم يعلم اعلم know اعلم know two of you اعلموا a group of you. Allah is addressing the believers. أنما غنمتم من شيء, that whatever you get as ghanima, ghanima, the spoils of war, whatever spoils of war you gather, فأن لله خمسه, then a fifth belongs to Allah and His Messenger and near relatives and the orphans and the poor and the wayfarer, Ibn Sabil, the traveler who has been cut off from his destination. So there's details in distribution of the ghanima, but part of it is 1/5, that is 20%, would be distributed by Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam to those he see fit. So those the 1/6. فإن كان له إخوة فلأمه السدس. This is the same verse in Surah An-Nisa that we referenced before. No, actually the verse prior to the 12th, verse 11. فإن كان له إخوة, if a man dies and he has brothers, his mother will get 1/6. The father would share along with the brothers. With the brothers. If there are no brothers, the mother and he doesn't have children. By the way, this is the situation when he does not have children. So there are details in this. If the man has children, the mother will get 1/6. If the man has no children, the mother get 1/3. If the man has no children, but he has brothers, the mothers get 1/6, or the mother gets 1/6. فإن كان له إخوة, if he has brothers, then for his mother is 1/6. What we intend here is as-sudus. As-subu'u, 1/7, is not mentioned in the Quran. But if you want to say, I don't know, one day in the week is as-subu'u min al-usbu', al-yawm al-wahidu subu'u min al-usbu', you can say that one day is 1/7 of a week. That would be a fair statement. Thumunun, 1/8, that is used in the Quran. فَإِنْ كَانَ لَكُمْ وَلَدٌ فَلَهُنَّ الثُّمُنُ مِمَّا تَرَكْتُمْ. Ayah 12, that is also in inheritance. If you have children, then they, that's the wives, get 1/8 from what you leave. This is speaking about when a man dies, that if he does not have children, the wife will get 1/4, or wives will share 1/4 if he has more than one wife. But if he has children, the wives get 1/8, and of course the children would share the rest. And of course there are other scenarios when they're parents or grandparents. Tusu'u or tusu'un, 1/9, is not mentioned in Quran. But if you wanted to say, make a sentence, you'll get 1/9 of whatever I leave. وَلَكُمُ تُسْعُ مِمَّا تَرَكْتُ. Which wouldn't be a lot, but hey. Ushurun is not used in Quran, but mi'sharun, which also means 1/10. This is an interesting pattern of the word. Allah says, وَكَذَّبَ الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِهِمْ وَمَا بَلَغُوا مِعْشَارَ مَا آتَيْنَاهُمْ فَكَذَّبُوا رُسُلِي فَكَيْفَ كَانَ نَكِيرٌ. And those before them disbelieved, and they have not achieved 1/10 of what we gave them. Wow. Yikes. So Allah is saying here that the people of the Prophet ﷺ disbelieved, but those before them disbelieved also. وَكَذَّبَ الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِهِمْ. Him, here is the people who disbelieve from the people of Rasulullah ﷺ, from Quraysh and from the Arabs. وَمَا بَلَغُوا, and they, that is, it's referring to the people of Rasulullah ﷺ, they did not achieve 1/10 of what we gave them, the people before them. Something we don't realize, we don't really pay attention to, is that there were very advanced civilizations that historically occupied Earth, and they had tremendous achievements. And in modern times, Allah knows, perhaps, Allah knows, we may have surpassed them in many things, at least technologically and in advancement in sciences and so on. But in other things, in civil engineering, for instance, there were civilizations that were extremely advanced, and in engineering, and in even up to now, we're having a hard time figuring out the construction of the pyramids and the purpose of the pyramids. There's a theory that the pyramids, I'm talking about the pyramids in Egypt, were intended as storage for electricity, storing electricity. And there's some documentaries online you can go and find if you want. Mi'ashara means 1/10. And they did not achieve 1/10 of what we gave those before them. So that's it for numbers. How to count and how to do the grammatical analysis for both the adad and the ma'adud. We covered that last week, and today we looked at numbers as ordinal adjectives, describing the order of things, which happen to be adjectives also in Arabic, but also can be used for khabar, as in the first example. And then we looked at numbers as fractions. And that's that for this lesson. And we can continue with another lesson. But first, is there any questions? Any questions about this lesson? Even a fraction of a question? Who would be the first to ask a question? من يقول الأول ليسأل سؤالا عن هذا الدرس. See how I'm using the words? Okay, so we'll stop here, inshallah, at this recording.